My name is Guion Foreman, president of the Chicago Police Board, and I am calling the board's June 17th public meeting to order. To protect the public's health in response to the COVID-19 pandemic and as permitted by Governor Pritzker's executive orders 2020-07 and 2021-11, this meeting is taking place remotely. This meeting is open to the public via audio conference and is being carried live by CAN TV. Those participating by phone are on mute in order to reduce background noise and disruptions. We have a court reporter making a transcript of this meeting. I would begin by taking attendance so it is clear who is participating in this meeting. Please say here after I read your name. Police Board Vice President Paula Wolf.
Here.
Police Board Member Matthew Crowd.
Here.
Police Board Member Michael Eady.
Here. Board
Member Steve Flores.
Here.
Board Member Jorge Montes.
Here.
Board Member Rhoda Sweeney. You're on mute, Rhoda. Let's see. If it's on your phone, maybe press *6 on your phone.
Here.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you. Board Member Andrea Zopp.
Here.
Chief of Chicago Police Department's Office of Operations, Brian McDermott.
Here.
Interim Chief Administrator of the Civilian Office of Police Accountability, Andrea Kirsten.
Here.
Deputy Inspector General for Public Safety, Deborah Witzberg.
Here.
Chief of the Chicago Police Department's Bureau of Internal Affairs, Karen Konow.
Here.
General Counsel to the Superintendent, Dana O'Malley.
Here.
Chief of Chicago Police Department's Bureau of Detectives, Brendan Denahan. Executive Director of the Police Board, Max Caproni.
Here.
And Chief Denahan is here, but he is on mute, so I will say that for the record. I can see him here.
Okay, I got it now. Sorry about
no
that.
problem. No problem. We will now proceed to the items on the meeting agenda. We will have time at the end of the meeting for public comments. Once again, those participating by phone are currently on mute in order to reduce background noise and disruptions. When we get to the public comment portion of the meeting, we will unmute each speaker. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the board's May 20th regular public meeting?
So moved, Paula Wolf.
Second, Michael Eady.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion passes. The next regular public meeting will be held Thursday, July 15th at 7:30 p.m. Whether this will be an in-person meeting or a remote meeting will be determined closer to the meeting date. Is there a motion to close a series of executive sessions for the purposes of considering personnel matters and litigation as authorized by sections 2C1, 3, 4, and 11 of the Illinois Open Meetings Act?
I so move, Paula Wolf.
Second, Michael Eady.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion passes. Next up, we'll have a presentation from CPD on the foot pursuit policy. The police department is in the process of creating a foot pursuit policy, the first for the city. To address the immediate needs, CPD has published an interim policy which will remain in place while deeper community engagement is conducted. To provide the public with more information on this important topic, we'll now have a presentation from CPD on the foot pursuit policy.
Jan, should I give the opening remarks on behalf of the superintendent, or do we go right into the presentation first?
Well, let's do the presentation first.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mike Kapistanek, and I'm a lieutenant in Chicago Police Department's Research and Development Division. I'm currently assigned as the commanding officer of the Policy and Procedure section. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to provide a presentation today on CPD's foot pursuit policy. And I will share my screen. CPD's interim foot pursuit policy was issued on May 26th of this year and became effective on Friday, June 11th. For the purposes of this presentation, we have condensed the policy into two sections. First, the pre-pursuit considerations, and second, engaging in a foot pursuit. However, the complete policy is available on our department directive system, which is available publicly at directives.chicagopolice.org. For the pre-pursuit considerations, we've broken down into three topics. Our policy is broken down into foot pursuit guiding principles. The first guiding principle, and our highest priority here at CPD, is sanctity of life. What sanctity of life means, not only in use of force occurrences, but in foot pursuit occurrences and all occurrences, is that department members must act with the foremost regard for the preservation of human life and the safety of all persons involved. Foot pursuits also carry an inherent risk. The primary consideration of any action and these foot pursuits would be, the primary consideration is safety. When engaging in a foot pursuit, the safety of department members, members of the public, and the fleeing subject should always be the primary consideration when determining whether a foot pursuit should be initiated or continued. We also expect our officers to continually assess the circumstances to determine the appropriate response. The appropriate response to effectively apprehend the subject or safely conclude the pursuit. Department members should be prepared to develop a safe, flexible, and tactical approach to each situation to safely resolve the incident. We also expect our officers to consider safety and tactics to prevent foot pursuits. One of the main goals of that is to use our de-escalation tactics. Our de-escalation tactics and our principles of force mitigation are identified in our use of force policy. However, they can be translated to many interactions with the public, including foot pursuits. Those principles of force mitigation are continual communication, which includes talking to the subjects and using trauma-informed techniques, tactical positioning, which includes creating a zone of safety, and using time as a tactic, which means slowing down the situation, allowing an opportunity for emotions to de-escalate. We also expect our officers to consider alternatives to a foot pursuit when appropriate. These alternatives can be obtaining assistance from other department members or other department units, such as our helicopter unit, establishing containment and surveillance of the area, using tactical and technological apprehension efforts, including the use of technology, cameras, pods, other technology efforts, and potentially apprehending the subject at another time and place. We also want our officers to consider factors that might create a heightened risk during foot pursuits. These factors can include things such as the number of subjects involved, number of officers involved, whether the subject is armed, the availability of assist units, and other safety concerns and physical characteristics, such as the nature of the area, the weather, presence, structures that are present, physical hazards, roadways, other safety considerations of the environment. We want those officers to consider those and consider the safety prior to engaging in a foot pursuit. And then we have established standards on deciding to engage in a foot pursuit. And these standards are layered upon one another. The first standard is that in order for engage in a foot pursuit, our officers need to establish either probable cause for arrest or reasonable articulable suspicion for an investigatory stop, which means they have reasonable articulable suspicion that a crime has been committed, is being committed, or is about to be committed. These are the same standards we have for our investigatory stop or arrest policies. This standard must be met in order to initiate a foot pursuit. Layered on top of that, we want our officers to weigh the risks of the foot pursuit with the need for immediate apprehension of that subject. So when deciding to initiate or continue a foot pursuit, we want officers to weigh the risk to the member, to members of the public, and the subject with the necessity for that immediate apprehension of the subject. And then we have specific prohibitions on foot pursuits. Specific prohibitions such as offenses that are less than a Class A misdemeanor, officers cannot pursue for those offenses. If the offense is solely a traffic offense that does not disregard or endanger the safety of others, such as administrative traffic offenses, such as licensing offenses, insurance offenses, or offenses that would be a petty violation or enforceable by citation only, those would not be eligible. Those officers would be prohibited from engaging in a foot pursuit for those offenses. And then we have safety considerations, some prohibitions that are based on the safety of everyone involved. This would include losing radio contact with our dispatchers. The officers are unaware of their location. They lose their firearm or other equipment that become a danger to the public. We also want our officers are prohibited from engaging in a foot pursuit under those circumstances as well. And then, as always, when an officer is directed by a supervisor to discontinue a foot pursuit, they are prohibited from engaging in that foot pursuit. And then we'll go into what our policy is currently on what we expect our officers and supervisors to do during a foot pursuit, when engaging in a foot pursuit. First and foremost, we want to make sure those officers activate their body-worn camera. When conducting a law enforcement-related activity, as an investigatory stop, a traffic stop, or an arrest, those officers should have that body camera on already, but we're ensuring with this policy that during the initiation or engagement in a foot pursuit, that body camera is activated. We also want those officers to notify a supervisor, notify a dispatcher, and notifying assisting resources. This provides the information to the dispatcher to ensure it's documented correctly, to assisting resources so that we can provide assistance, and to the supervisor to ensure that supervisor is monitoring the foot pursuit. And then just like in assessing prior to a foot pursuit, while engaging in a foot pursuit, we want our officers to continually assess that circumstance to determine whether the foot pursuit is still the appropriate response. And then we want officers during that foot pursuit to also consider the similar safety considerations that we did prior to the foot pursuit. We want to make sure that they can coordinate and communicate with their partner and other assist resources to make sure that there's a safe resolution to that foot pursuit. We want them to consider the presence of weapons, obstacles, or other unanticipated risks to ensure that the need to immediately apprehend that subject still outweighs the inherent risk of that foot pursuit. We also want our officers to consider whether the continuation of a foot pursuit or a containment situation is the safest way to resolve that incident. And that containment situation could be similar to the preventative measures, which is that tactical and technological strategies, using assist units, using technology, using cameras, being able to provide a safe resolution to that incident. And then upon discontinuing the foot pursuit, we want to make sure that those officers provide medical attention or request medical attention to those who are injured, make the appropriate notifications, and as always, make sure that incident is reported and documented correctly. And then we have roles for our supervisors during a foot pursuit. The ultimate role of that supervisor is to monitor the pursuit, to direct and coordinate the actions of our officers to mitigate against risks, to mitigate against that inherent risks that are present during a foot pursuit. They also must continually assess the information and provide instruction to our officers, request assisting resources, instruct the officer to hold their position to allow for assist resources to become available, or to instruct that officer to discontinue the pursuit and start tactical or technological containment strategies or apprehension strategies. And then, as we expect always from our supervisors, we want that supervisor to supervise the incident appropriately, make sure the resolution of the incident is done safely, and make sure the documentation of that incident is done correctly. Like I said, this foot pursuit policy is in effect. It was published on May 26th and was effective June 11th. However, this policy is still under review. We're allowing the community opportunity and providing the community opportunity to provide input and feedback on this policy. There are a number of ways we're doing this, and I'll go over a few here. One, our current policy is open for public comments. You can access the City of Chicago Reform website or the chicagopolice.org site and find the policy review section at this address. The complete policy is there, and it's open for electronic comments to be submitted to the department. Those comments will be open, that comment period will be open till July 15th of this year. We also have a public input form, which is similar to a survey, which asks various questions and with an opportunity to gather feedback on very specific components of the foot pursuit policy. That's also going to be available until July 15th, and you can go to provide more information there. CPD is also going to host 2 virtual community conversations, one on Wednesday, June 30th at 7 p.m., and one Saturday, July 10th at 12 noon. Registration is accepted on a first-come, first-served basis, and it's limited to 200 participants. To sign up for that, you can go to the City of Chicago Reform page, the Get Involved page, or that at chicagopolice.org. And then finally, we are also conducting deliberate dialogues. These dialogues are individual dialogues with organizations and groups that are invited to meet individually with members of CPD. We discuss the multiple views and perspectives. We talk about the policy. We talk about policy development. We discuss with the organizations or the community groups their expectations of our officers, the expectations in the policy, provide collective insight and feedback in the continuing development of this policy. We have partnered with the Center for Conflict Resolution to facilitate those meetings and to take notes to document those meetings, ensure we're receiving all that feedback. Each of those dialogues are an hour in length, and you can have up to 8 community members of your organization involved. They will be held between June and July 15th, but we have a sign-up period which ends June 25th in order so that we can schedule these dialogues appropriately. All this information is available on the CPD website, but you can also contact via email the police department and the community policing office at community@chicagopolice.org if you have any questions or comments about any of these community engagements, and they'll be able to provide you with more information. Again, I appreciate the opportunity for providing this information tonight, and we look forward to the feedback from the community on how we can make this policy better.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Police board members, does anyone have any questions, comments? So for those listening, not necessarily looking at the screen, the public policy, the public comment website is home.chicagopolice.org/reform/policy-review. But if you go to Chicago Police Department's website, you can see it there. There's also a public input form. If you would like to contact either CPD or the Chicago Police Board, we can make sure to direct you to the place where you need to go. Thank you, Lieutenant. On July 20th.
Hey, Gian, it's Andy. I have a question.
Please.
Lieutenant, once all the feedback is given, what's the process for revising the policy and then resharing it with people so we know how the feedback was used in terms of interpreting the policy or editing or influencing any changes to the policy?
Absolutely, I can answer that. We review all the comments that come in. We review every comment, and we look at themes and trends and ideas that are provided not only through the public feedback comment on the policy, but through the deliberative dialogues, through our community conversations. All that information is going to be gathered until July 15th. After July 15th, the Office of Community Policing, the Research and Development Division here at CPD, we're going to review, we're going to analyze, and we're going to consider that feedback. We're going to look the consistency with best practices. We're going to look at statistical data based on what's occurring here in Chicago, what's occurring nationwide, and we're going to continue to review and revise that policy. We're also going to go through the consent decree process with the independent monitoring team and the Office of the Attorney General in our policy review process there as well. After the policy, after we've taken those community comments and that policy is finalized, it will once again be posted for public comment in August. As we further refine the policy and establish the final policy, which is due to be implemented early September of this year. There will also be some reporting out from the Office of Community Policing on the summary of these community conversations and these dialogues, and what actions we've taken in response to them.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. On July 24th, 2020, during the height of COVID-19 pandemic, the police board entered a general omnibus order on conducting disciplinary hearings via two-way video conferencing using Zoom. Given the significant change in the COVID-19 landscape and Chicago's entry into phase 5 on June 11th, the board is resuming in-person hearings. Is there a motion to enter a second general omnibus order that will govern disciplinary hearings?
So moved, Paula Wolf.
Second, Michael Eady.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. A copy of this second general omnibus order will be posted on the police board's website. A report of disciplinary actions taken by the board during the previous month has been made available on the board's website. There is one disciplinary case on the agenda this evening. We'll get to shortly. The superintendent has requested the board's permission to solicit funds to offset the cost of hosting the department's annual award ceremony and luncheon. Is there a motion to approve this request, subject to the board's receiving an accounting of funds raised and spent?
Paula Wolf, so moved.
Second, Michael Eady.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion passes. The general orders and other directives issued by the superintendent during the previous month are posted on the police department's website. Chief McDermott, I'll ask if you will give the superintendent's report, please.
Yes, thank you. Hi, my name is Brian McDermott. I'm the Chief of Patrol for the Chicago Police Department. I'm glad to be with you tonight, sitting in for Superintendent Brown. Earlier today, Superintendent introduced our new LGBTQ+ liaisons, who will work to advocate on behalf of what has been a marginalized community. As the Soup said, we are continuing to transform the Chicago Police Department through reform by prioritizing human dignity and respect. There will be one liaison for each of the 5 areas across the city. The liaisons will provide support and outreach at a grassroots level to the diverse LGBTQ+ community. There will be a citywide LGBTQ+ liaison who will serve as a team leader for area liaisons. The liaisons will also provide peer support to other LGBTQ+ members of the Chicago Police Department. These newly created roles are above and beyond what has been required by the consent decree in the area of community policing. Growing community trust is at the heart of everything CPD does. I'd like to mention our custom notifications teams that outline the consequences of continuing criminal behavior, which could include being shot or going to prison. And we offer these individuals a list of available services to help deter them, him or her, from continuing down a destructive path. We also offer services to the family members of the custom notified individual. So far this year, we have made at least 333 custom notifications. That's a 733% increase over the custom notifications performed in 2020. CPD's homicide clearance rate is at 53%. Over 5,036 guns have been recovered since January 1st, 2021. I ask everyone to remember that each gun recovered is a potentially deadly encounter. 25 CPD officers have been shot at and 6 officers have been struck by gunfire since the beginning of this year. As you've probably heard, we have canceled days off and have gone to 12-hour tours moving through the Father's Day weekend. This was not done lightly. The Chicago Police Department recognizes and appreciates the sacrifices our officers and their families make to serve and protect the city of Chicago. The deployment order for the Father's Day weekend was developed using historical data. The department will continue to evaluate and adjust resources to ensure the safety of our residents, our visitors, and our officers. We are also working closely with our community partners, including grassroots outreach workers. Improving public safety will take all of us working together. Mayor Lightfoot and Superintendent Brown also announced a new foot pursuit policy that prioritizes the safety of officers and individuals involved in the pursuit, as well as the members of the public. It was implemented on June 11th, 2021. The department will continue to review the policy and make revisions as appropriate, with a finalized policy to be completed in September. During the policy development process, the department conducted internal focus groups, which provided feedback from our officers that was used to develop the new directives. The department will continue hosting additional internal focus groups while also facilitating community input. The current version of the foot pursuit policy will be made available for public comment until July 15th, 2021. We cannot be successful without the trust and goodwill of the community. I'd like to thank you for allowing me to speak here this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Chief Administrator Kirsten, would you like to give your oral report?
Thank you. Thank you, President Foreman, and the opportunity to speak before the board this evening. In the month of June, COPA received 435 complaints and notifications. Of those, 106 of them fell under our jurisdiction, and 42% of those 106 cases involved allegations of Fourth Amendment or improper search and seizure reports. Again, that's our most significant number of cases, the type of cases that we receive the highest volume of complaints on. In the month of this last month, we also closed 4 officer-involved shooting cases, and we received 1 officer-involved shooting notification and responded to the scene of that incident. Of our cases that were closed this month, which had sustained findings or had allegations rather of misconduct, 56% of those resulted in sustained findings. And so that's a significant increase over some prior months. Also importantly, we released 1 video of a police shooting based on court orders and things that prohibited us from releasing more videos that took place in the last month. And then we also had 4 different community engagements. One of the cornerstones of COPA has really been its attempts to, and even in times of this pandemic, our attempts to connect with the community, make sure that we are raising awareness about the work that's going on at our agency and the efforts that we undertake to help bridge trust between the department and the community it serves. One of the most important ways we did that in the last 6 months, really, which kind of culminated in this last month, was our work around our policy revisions. Much like the police department, COPA, pursuant to the consent decree, is also at work revising and updating our policies to comply with the responsibilities set forth in the federal consent decree for our agency. Part of that process has been to engage with members of the public to comment on and provide feedback to those comments. And in selecting the individuals that participated in what ultimately became kind of a policy working group for COPA, we really wanted to make sure that we had an accurate representation of all impacted communities. And so that meant engaging members of the LGBTQ+ community, the mental health crisis community, peoples with disability, the education community, faith-based leaders, civil rights activists, and our legal community. So with that robust and diverse set of voices and opinions, we were able to successfully move a number of different policies ranging from a wide variety of topics through to completion and ultimately approval from the federal monitors and the Attorney General's office. And those policies range from things like our intake unit and how it functions. So that's how we answer the phone and take those initial complaints and conduct those first interviews. So a really robust policy kind of guiding and perfecting the way in which we approach that critical work, as well as our quality assurance policy. Our timeliness benchmarks, much has been said about the length of time, unfortunately, that it still takes for a COPA investigation to be concluded. So we're hard at work here trying to set forth reasonable benchmarks for us and our staff to meet in order to ask more of ourselves and as an agency to better serve our community. We also approved policies relating to our equipment and our apparel, specifically how we can represent ourselves as an agency in the community, and also disciplinary recommendations and recommendations regarding department member duties. So whether or not an officer should be relieved of powers or has fitness for duty, et cetera. And then lastly, in addition to that work with our community working group itself, once those policies get through that process and through that cycle, we then post them publicly on our website. And there's one up there now for public comment. And I would welcome members of the public to go to chicagocopa.org, and look under our policy section. It's the policy relating to our final summary reports. So at the end of a COPA investigation, we write a very detailed report about everything that did occur in that investigation, what the appropriate, departmental orders or laws were that govern the conduct in question, and then an analysis of how we reached any conclusions that we found. So I invite the public to comment on that. Let us know how to make that product better. At the end of the day, that's what speaks most loudly. Those reports are what speaks most loudly for the work that we do at COPA. It tells the story of any given investigation. So again, we welcome public comments on that and any future policies going forward. And if members of the public are interested in participating in this working group, we will be resuming that practice later in the summer in August. And please feel free to reach out to our community engagement team through our website if you think you want to lend your voice to this conversation. So thank you for the time for this update from COPA.
Thank you, Chief. So once again, members of the public, chicagocopa.org to make comments, as well as chicagopoliceboard.org to make comments on the foot pursuit policy. The police board is authorized by the open meeting. Yes.
Try
Police
27.
board is authorized by the Open Meeting Act.
27.
One second. Sorry, had to mute someone. The police board is authorized by the Open Meetings Act, has considered in a closed meeting one police disciplinary case. The board will now take final action on this case. Regarding case number 19 PB 2966, is there a motion to find police officer Patrick Kelly guilty of charges related to the off-duty shooting of Michael Laporta and to discharge Officer Kelly from the Chicago Police Department?
So moved, Paula Wolf.
Second, Michael Eady.
I will now call on members of the board for their vote. Wolf,
Aye.
Crow,
Aye.
Edie,
Aye.
Flores,
Aye.
Montez,
Aye.
Sweeney,
Aye.
Zop,
Yes.
and I vote in favor of the motion. Voting in favor are board members Wolf, Crow, Edie, Flores, Montez, Sweeney, Zop, and myself. The motion passes by a vote of 8-0. Is there a motion to adopt the written findings and decision that have been reviewed by all board members who participated in the case?
So moved, Paula Wolf.
Second, Michael Eady.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion passes. The written decision in this case will be entered as of today's date, sent to the parties, and then posted on the board's website. This evening, we're pleased to have with us Griffin, Saul, and other members of the new Chicago Youth Council for Police Accountability. I and members of the board are excited about the creation of the Youth Council, and we're very much looking forward to listening to and working with Chicago's young people on issues of police accountability. Griffin, please turn it over to you, my friend.
Thank you so much, Guion, and to the rest of the board for having us here tonight. I want to keep this short and sweet, but give us the opportunity to kind of explain who we are and have our youth council introduce themselves. So nearly a year ago today, I kind of ventured out on this quest to increase the accessibility for young people to make change in our city. I have an existing nonprofit called We Are Able, and I was fortunate enough to kind of come across paths with Guion, and we kind of discussed about what the youth voice looked like for the Chicago Police Board. And during the time of the COVID-19 pandemic, where we were already seeing exacerbated inequities and inequalities in terms of racial justice and policing, didn't seem like there was much of one that was occurring. So I took it upon myself, along with another group of young people and some amazing partners along the way, to pave the way for a group of incredible young people from Chicago to be the change that we want to see in the world. So we're pleased to kind of be here for what will be a year-long journey, at the very least for us. Tonight, we'll be meeting bi-weekly as an independent group, and then joining you at the third Thursday of every month as well, to work alongside you and to make our city a better, safer, and stronger place for everybody. So with that said, I want to kind of turn it over to our youth council to kind of give a brief introduction of themselves as well. I'll just read off their names and they can provide a quick intro for themselves. So Jacques, do you want to start first if you're on?
Yeah, sure. My name is Jacques. I just graduated from Loyola University about a month ago from this time, actually. And I'm just really involved with the community in my neighborhood. I live in Westtown. And I'm really excited to be part of this council because policing is very important, at least in my opinion, since I'm a Chicago native and just, experiencing a lot of the things that have happened within the past year. I was not involved, but I saw a lot of the events that have happened in May where the tension between Chicago Police Department and the community was very tense. And that kind of pushed me to be involved in an organization like this that really just pushes for, positive police reform. And I just really appreciate that, opportunity like this exists. So I really appreciate y'all taking the time out of your days to, listen to the youth voices of Chicago. Thank you again, Saul, for bringing me on here.
Thanks, Jacques. Corey, you there? Doesn't sound like it. Isaac?
Hi, can you hear me all right?
Yep.
Perfect. My name is Isaac Troncoso. I'm a recent UChicago public policy grad. I currently work at Google, but before that, I worked for the New York City Mayor's office working on police reform, in particular, Mayor de Blasio's initiative to have mental health counselor teams that are mobile crisis teams respond to 911 calls by emotionally disturbed persons rather than armed police officers. So I'm very much looking forward to being on the council and really appreciate you guys having us here today.
Thanks, Isaac. Lee, are you on the call? Sarah, saw you on the call.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm a junior at Lane Tech. Something I would like to improve is citizen review boards because they're kind of powerless in some areas of Illinois. I'm also involved in some computer science stuff because I like computer science. This summer I'm doing CS research at UChicago.
Great, thanks. Saul?
Hi, everyone. My name is Saul. I'm a junior in Hyde Park, and I found out about this opportunity through the Chicago Mayor's Youth Commission, where I'm a part of the public safety team there.
Zaryab?
Hi, everyone. My name is Zaryab. I'm a current junior at Lane. And yeah, I found this opportunity through the Chicago Mayor's Youth Commission, and I'm looking forward to learning more about police accountability.
Mia?
Hi, I'm Mia. I go to Whitney Young, and I'm excited to learn more about police policy and how I can help create a better relationship between the people of Chicago and the police.
And I'm not sure if she's on, but Charlie, if you're there. Doesn't seem so, but again, I want to just reiterate, there's 11 young people. You met most of them tonight, and I look forward for you to continue to meet them and work with them. We're really honored to have this opportunity, and we're here to make some real change. This is not, we're an independent group. I started this from the grassroots up. We want to work alongside you and make some real reform. And I'm only starting to get to know these young people, but I know that they're an impressive group of people. So I can't thank Max and Guion enough for all the support they've given me along the way. And again, I look forward to working with you all soon. Thanks so much, Guion.
Thank you. Thank you, Griffin. Thank you to the whole youth council. Really, really appreciate you guys stepping up. Jacques, congratulations on graduating. I know that this is a funny time to graduate, but you'll have a story to tell your grandchildren. So it'll all work out in the end. But really proud of you guys for stepping up. We absolutely are looking for ways to have more civic participation, and really, really proud to see the work that you all are doing.
Is it opportunity to just ask one question?
Yes, please. Yes, please, Reverend. Sure.
Yeah. Good. Griffin, really excited about hearing what you guys have pulled together. I just want to ask, is there a place for others to join the council? What is the enrollment? How does one connect? And if you don't mind, put your website or that in the chat.
Doing that right now. Thanks so much for your question. So we opened up this application a little back earlier at the end of 2020, around October, I want to say. It had applications open for a while. We partnered with, I just graduated from Tufts University. So I kind of do this in my spare time as well. But we partnered with Youth Guidance, some folks at the mayor's youth commission at the city, BAM Becoming a Man, Chicago 200, and then the Chicago Community Trust is a big sponsor for us with this initiative. And we're thankful to be able to provide stipends to all our young people who are participating in this. So our program is intended to run for a year, and at which point we'll open the opportunity up for new young people to join. But we really want this to be a learning experience beyond an advocacy role. So we'd love to get all the members of the police board involved and kind of taking on a mentorship role with our young people. And obviously are going to be looking to engage outside young people as well. A large part of our budget is itemized for community building events where we hope to engage other young people in the city of Chicago to foster community healing with CPD and beyond. So we're really excited about the future opportunities, policies, and activities that are going to come from this. And I dropped my email there, as well as my organization's website is weable.org. But feel free to contact me at any time. And I'm sure I speak on behalf of the fellow youth council as well. And we're really excited to connect with you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any other board members? Questions? Thank you, and congratulations to you too, Griffin. Next up, we have a presentation from some of our longtime participants at the board meeting, Communities Organized to Win. Jennifer? Jennifer Edwards, if you can press *6.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like Matt to do the introduction for Kyle, if he could go first.
Okay,
Is
Matt.
that possible?
Sure, absolutely. Matt, if you can press *6.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. First of all, before I begin, I want to send my thoughts and prayers out to speedy recovery for 6th District Commander Sonora Ben. I hope all of you keep her in your thoughts and prayers. She's a great part of the community. Communities Organized to Win, as you know, is an organization that was formed to network with different community groups, block clubs, and individuals throughout the south side of Chicago. We've done that for over the past 12 years, and we're proud to say that we've succeeded in creating quite a partnership. On last Monday, June 14th, because of recent violence around the area of 75th and Prairie, the fruits of that endeavor were realized when a response to that violence was headed by the mayor, the Superintendent Brown, high command officers of Chicago Police Department, and different city representatives to hold a community meeting in the middle of 75th Street at Prairie Avenue. The mayor was there. She answered questions. She talked about things that would be done and things that could be done. And the superintendent gave his remarks. After the mayor had left and the superintendent had left, something happened. About 100 to 150 four-wheelers, motorcycles, three-wheelers decided to come and disrupt the event. And what happened was what needs to happen in all communities. Led by Area 2 Deputy Chief Snelling, Area 1 Deputy Chief Talley, Deputy Chief of Community Policing Navalas, other high-ranking Chicago police officers, and members of the community. Those revelers were walked out of the community with the police and the community side by side until it broke up and they dispersed. That is the police and the community at work. And you don't see that on the news. You only see the bad things. But believe me, with the police and the community together, we can get this done. Thank you for letting me present that.
Okay, my part, I wanted to present some of the things that we've done over the past couple of years. We could go back a little bit further, but we don't want to take up all the time. And some of the things that we have engaged with were trying to help with the Chicago Department of Public Health increase jobs and decrease gun violence while bringing CPD and the community together. We had on June 30th submitted a list to the People's Response Community Group, 10 testing sites in 60619 and 60620 for walk-up testing of COVID-19. We engaged and interacted with State Senator L.G. Sims, 17th District, State Representative Nick Smith, Florida District, State Representative Andre Tapetti, 32nd District, to encourage free contact tracing courses at Chicago State University. We negotiated jobs, an agreement between an all-Black professional carpenters program to enlist and train returning citizens in the skill of carpentry and International Brotherhood of Carpenters Union. Dennis Muhammad of Dufour Self was given 200 union cards in apprenticeship positions to directly hire candidates outside of the union hall. We've had a lot of events, and these events have been for us to bring CPD and the community together. In 2019, we held a backyard conversation, which involved the 6th District Police. We also had one in 2020 with Superintendent Brown to welcome him to our community. We've encouraged CAPS increased participation in the 3rd and 6th districts by combining district participation. We've called for participation and attendance at the CPD consent decree conversations in the 3rd, 4th, 6th, and 7th districts. We've designed a system of participation at the monthly Chicago Police Board meetings. You guys know about that, how we pulled together and kind of tricked you a little bit. We have had participation in weekly roll calls and brought CAL members to interact with the CPD officers for the purpose of support and encouragement. We had a thank you so much in Black History Month for the officers of the 6th District because they came out to several of our areas during the snowstorm and shoveled out our blocks. We held 2 meetings with the City Deputy Chief of CAPS to suggest CAPS meetings reform, and we're going to be scheduling a 3rd one with community members soon. We conducted 3 area business walks identifying problem businesses that impact the community's health and safety. We also joined with other community partners in Operation Neighborhood Safety, posting at area gas stations to reduce the number of violent carjackings and shootings. One of our goals is to help with getting a donation or some type of money to buy ring systems so we can make these available free to community members so that they will connect with the police department. Thank you. Any questions from anybody?
Thank you very much. This is great, and as you know, we really appreciate your continued participation. We know that this working in community is not an easy thing, and so we really wanted to highlight the work that Communities Organized to Win was doing as a way of kind of showing how when communities come together and then working with the various CPD offices or officials that we can get some things done in community. So I thought that the work that you all were doing, it was worth taking some time to kind of talk about that to set an example. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
The next speaker, and so now we're going to move to our typical format now with speakers. So Jasmine, if you can get the clock ready. Our next speaker is Gail Salisbury.
Oh, Gail. You're on mute, right?
I don't know.
You're on mute.
Gail Salisbury. If you can press *6. All right, we'll come back. We'll come back to Ms. Salisbury. Next speaker, Zed Braden. Zed Braden, if you can press *6. Next speaker, June Norfleet. *6. Our next speaker, Marlon Howell. Ms. Norfleet, I can see that you're not on mute. So if you can hear me, you can speak now.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hear you. Yes, ma'am.
President?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, President Guion. Thank you so much. Wow. I was all prepared for you, and then I'm unprepared as I'm coming to you straight from the, as the young people say, straight from the go. I am here at 316, well, I'm leaving now, 316 East 74th Street, where the community is getting together regarding incidents on 75th Street. They are bonding and galvanizing, working with the police, and it's just an absolutely wonderful thing to see them in action, to see us in action, gaining our power and learning from some of the training that we've had with the 3rd District and the 6th District. So we are very positive and hopeful. It's a little tense. It was a little tense, but good things are coming out. But what I wanted to talk to you real quick about is that we need full power. I came out here tonight with my flashlight just in case it got a little dark out here. And you know, with these flashlights, you got all these batteries in there. You've got about 3 or 4 in here. And if they're not all working, then you don't get the full power of the light. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so I thought about this in reference to some of our recent activities that we've done with communities organized to win, SOBNO, and other agencies on the south side of Chicago, where we had tremendous support from our CPD partners, 3rd and 6th District. And we also had support from BACP as we went in to assess and canvass some of the businesses that are not serving our community appropriately. But we found some of the batteries were missing. You know what I mean? There was no building there with us. There was no Department of Health. There was no fire department with us. We need to have all of our batteries on full charge for us to have the full power so that we can shine the light, so that we can be that part of the citadel on the hill. So again, kudos to the police department for coming out and supporting us. And we ask that if you can be a conduit and an impetus to get our other agencies that we pay so dearly for to come out and support us, we do ask that you do that. And again, hello?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ms. Norfleet. I'm sorry. I mean, I had to mute you there. Our next speaker, Marlon Howell.
This is Marlon Howell. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm a homeowner and resident in Beat 624, and I am here this evening to ask the members of this board for help for Beat 624. The beat crime statistics and the beat calls for service, I am sure, have been and are available for the members on this board. So for me to point out one of the many infractions, I think would be redundant. What the stats and calls for service show is a need for more police officers in the 6th District. Instead, I would like to appeal to the members of this board's conscience this evening. While the crime in Beat 624 escalates, the police manpower in the 6th District is dwindling. The people living in Beat 624 who are actively engaged with CAPS, neighborhood community organizations, block clubs, and doing what we can to preserve our quality of life are now facing being terrorized and held hostage in our own community and home. So I ask you, what can we do? What can we do to fix the broken police system while continuing to serve and protect the citizens in Beat 624? Living in the 6th District and in Beat 624, I think the people in the district could be better served if the 6th District could have a commander around long enough so that he or she could organize and implement strategies and tactics for his or her command to combat the crime in the beat. We need an increase in manpower to address the needs of the beat within this district. More police visibility in Beat 624, beat cars. Enforce laws that are broken repeatedly that affect the quality of life of the people in Beat 624. Infractions such as repairing and washing of cars on our city streets, loitering on public and private and public property, playing loud music, sitting on the city sidewalks, and urinating in public. These violations of city ordinances may sound frivolous when Beat 624 is inundated with murder, prostitution, drugs, and other nefarious crimes. But these violations still cause problems for the people in Beat 624, and these violations are laws that should be enforced too. In closing, I'd like to say our police officers are doing a great job for a police department that is in need of repair. I thank you guys for giving me this opportunity to voice my concern.
Thank you very much. Chief McDermott and Ms. Howell, if you don't mind, Chief McDermott, I'll make sure that Max gets you the information from Ms. Howell. If we can have somebody check on Beat 624, we would appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Our next speaker, Lena Bivens. Next speaker, Linda Hudson. Linda Hudson.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Linda Hudson, and I'm a community leader in the 8th Ward. On Thursday, September 17, 2020, I held a prayer vigil for the female mail carrier who was shot in the Burnside community. In preparing for the prayer vigil, I sought the support of the 4th District and did not get it. I was very disappointed, and I spoke at the September board meeting about my disappointment in the 4th District. On May 10th, 2021, officers Eric Davis and Chris Moore of the 4th District called a community leader and asked to meet with her at 11 a.m. at a local McDonald's restaurant to discuss her organization. Officer Eric Davis showed up in uniform. After repeatedly telling him what her organization was about, she mentioned that I was a member of the organization, at which Officer Davis replied, "Ugh, I hear he's erratic." He mentioned that I attended school with Alderman Michelle Harris and other disparaging remarks. He also mentioned that I made him look bad by saying the 4th District did not support my prayer vigil. I know what Officer Davis looks like, but I have never met Officer Davis. For him to show up in uniform to a meeting with another community leader to tarnish my name and my reputation is incomprehensible. I am a lot of things, but erratic, never. Not only is he practicing out of his scope as a police officer, it makes me question if he has a license to diagnose. And if he does not, then I fully support the city of Chicago ensuring that all police officers become licensed under the Illinois Department of Professional Regulation. I'm a mother, taxpayer, professional, and leader, and I'm highly offended. I'm afraid of the criminals in the community. Should I be afraid of Officer Davis too? Officer Davis needs to be reminded that he is a paid servant in the community. He's paid to serve all parts of the community, not just the political officials he favors. I typically don't fight with CPD because I support their role, value, and responsibility in our community. However, if this unprofessional conduct continues, I'm going on record that I will file a complaint with the Inspector General's office against Officer Eric Davis and the alderperson whose water he carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief, either chief, any comments?
Yeah, I have Deputy Chief Snelling on, and he'll follow up with Linda after this to get more specifics and see what kind of follow-up we could do here for her.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next speaker, John Perryman.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm just calling regarding what I've been bringing up for over a year, the large drug market in our community in Garfield Park. And I'm wondering if Chief McDermott can give me any kind of update on police strategies or activities or anything that's been going on over there.
Sure. So since last time you called in on May 20th, we provided your information with the 11th district. Someone reached out and spoke to you, gave them a contact information for someone who lived in the 3500 block of Walnut. As a result of that contact that the 11th district personnel made, they formed a black club, was officially established with the residents on the 3400 and 3500 block of Walnut. In addition to that, since your last call, CPD has conducted 2 narcotics operations in the area that you were concerned with, which resulted in multiple arrests, and several of those arrests led to federal charges.
On this issue, so please don't let up. One other quick question for Chief. We had a new drug market pop up at Francisco and Warren. Community members repeatedly reached out to the 12th district. They were doing freebies during between 7 and 8 for 2 weeks. Pretty much nothing happened, and then we had a homicide a few days ago at 8 o'clock on a safe passage route while children were walking to school. Can you tell me what are some of the, what's the protocol that police will use when a new drug market pops up in a community?
Well, I can't talk the specifics about what our narcotics and our tactical teams do, but what we will do is I'll have one of either Deputy Chief Cato or Commander McKenzie reach back out to you when we get the specifics, and we'll make sure that—
This is the 12th district. This is the 12th district.
Oh, well, I'll have Commander Shemash or Deputy Chief O'Shea reach out. You can give the specifics of what you're referring to.
Well, we're too late on that one. We're too late because someone's already dead.
All right. Well, so
we just need to know going forward when new ones pop up how to prevent the homicide.
Yeah, I think that this is a larger question. I'm not sure the chief is going to have the answer of how to prevent homicides. I think this is kind of—
Well, I will say this, that our officers are out there putting their lives on the line every single day. We've recovered 5,036 guns so far this year. Our officers have been shot at 25 times. They've been shot 6 times this year. And they'll continue to do their best to, protect the residents of the city of Chicago. At the same time, they're out there risking their lives. So we'll continue to do our best and try to prevent.
When new drug markets happen, we do need some more help, though, Chief McDermott. So can I talk to someone about that in the future? Mr. Foreman, can you connect me with someone about the issue?
Absolutely. Call me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Foreman.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Nenad Markovich. Next speaker, Flora Suttle. Ms. Suttle? I can see you unmuted, but I cannot hear you. All right, we'll come back. Next speaker, Mr. George Blakemore. If you can press *6. Ms. Suttle, I can hear you now, Ms. Suttle.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, Mr. Blakemore.
You can hear me?
Mr. Blakemore, if you can hold on one moment, please. I'm going to go with Ms. Suttle.
No, I don't want that cycle to go like last time. I want to be— can you hear me?
I can hear you, but so stay unmuted, but let me go with Ms. Suttle first. Ms. Suttle?
Yes, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening, but I've decided not to speak this evening. So everybody have a good evening.
Thank you very much. Mr. Blakemore?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, I'm appalled to hear this gentleman talking about open drug market. But when a black person is selling a drug, it's criminal. But we don't have one dispensary. The white men got all the medicinal, then they came back and got the recreational. Now, so open drug market. I think we have to do what we have to do with the politicians down in Springfield and bouncing the ball back to the city politicians. We didn't get one. I'm outraged. So if our if our drug sellers are selling drugs that's illegal, when the white ones are selling the same, I'm not going, that's legal. It's something inherently wrong. What we need is more black policemen that policing in the black community. I always advocate for jobs, goods, contracts, and service, and we wouldn't have so much crime. Now, the last thing I want to say, if they want to be a good community CAPS leader and helping our community, well, why not advocate for the Board Building Parade to be more than 4 blocks? This is our history. It's our history here. 92 years. Now you're going to go around and celebrate the 19th of June. We got something to celebrate right here. Now, I have a case with COVID that's been going on for over 3 years. That number is 1091942. When I was attacked down at Planning and Development as a concerned citizen by a policeman, and one white lady said, turn this man, take this handcuff off this man. There's some good white folks. And then a black lady said, take him off too. So we are abused. And a lot of the problems that's going on in these black ghettos is caused by institutional, civic, and institutional racism.
Thank you, Mr. Blakemore. Your time is up. Our next and last speaker is Mr. Robert Moore. Mr. Moore, if you can press *6. If you can mute.
Yeah, first of all, hello? Yeah, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. First of all, it's a huge equal protection problem. George Blakemore just spoke for, I got 2 minutes, like at 35 seconds. I'm cut off for 120 seconds every single time. So George Blakemore, this big speech this week from the nominal mayor about ending hate and violence, she used to let him go on for 3-4 minutes sometimes with a smile on her face, just pandering to this hatred of all white people other than John Brown. And so that's a huge issue of hatred that she used to, when she was in the position as the foreman. She should just let this go on and pander to it and foster it. What might not end up getting into this conveyance, which RJM would understand would be too important not to mention this juncture, maybe include the URL jn21-15protctr.tripod.com. RJM is in the process of resolving the number of crimes committed against RJM, that's Robert J. Moore, by Teresa Flores, which is postulated for RJM's protection from subjection to any charge of compounding a crime. In terms of resolution of crimes, there's no such thing as custodial caretaking function as a pretext for disregard of the protection of the Fourth Amendment. The city of Chicago is held harmless. There's no custodial caretaking of Robert J. Moore. Nothing done by the city of Chicago Police Department is ever for the utility of any person who fits the profile of Robert J. Moore. We are enslaved and the path to extermination from the nominal government entity controlled by the Committee of 300. What is the present status of the Bland, Young, and Spencer murder, for want of a more accurate term, contra investigation? Question mark. Why is the police superintendent not here? I don't have time to get the answer. I'm complaining about that. RJM demands for over the 10th time an email address for the nominal superintendent to be sent to Anselm, ANSELM45@gmail.com. Notice the hearing provides that no one who has not been convicted of a crime, a violent crime, has to abstain from wearing body armor in the city of Chicago. Should anyone's body armor be confiscated, invitations here and extended to contact the Institute of St. Michael the Archangel. Children of Chicago, you must learn to not only disrespect any and all nominal government entities controlled by the Committee 300, but to distrust them and to remember that it's your enslavement and or extermination, respectively, which constitutes the actual de facto function of any and all nominal government entities so controlled, as is the city of Chicago Police Department.
Okay, Mr. Moore, I gave you longer than 2 minutes, to be fair. At this time, all members of the public who signed up to speak have been called. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Paula Wolf.
Yeah, second, Michael Eady.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 The motion passes and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much for attending. Everyone, be safe.
Good night.
Thank you.
Happy Father's Day to everyone. Happy Father's Day.
You.
Same to you.
Bye-bye.